Hello world and welcome, I'm Karhu the Great Bear of the North, and this is Cultist Simulator. It pretty much is what it sounds like. There will be some occult references, there will be some absinthe riddled dreams, and there might even be human sacrifice, but that's much later in the game. As it stands right now, I'm taking you in from the absolute beginning. I've played this a little bit live, and I played a little bit off camera, just so I kind of know what I'm doing more. Now, we start off as an aspirant, alone in this chilly city with my useless education and my dreams. What now? Could I become something more? And here's tip number 1. Read everything. This is not a game that you can just figure out. There is no tutorial. Read everything so you know what's going on. And so I'm going to pick Giordano Ficino after two of my favorite Renaissance era occultists, Marsilio Ficino and Giordano Bruno. And here's basically how this game works. You have a bunch of cards. In this case, this is a card about our job, menial employment, and then we have different tasks or actions. In this case, the action is work. Right? We take the cards, we put them into these different slots. At the beginning, all you have is the menial employment. Another shift, mopping the darkened hallways, delivering post to hollow-eyed invalids, trundling corpse-laden gurneys to the basement. And then when you put these things in and then you click start, everything is on a timer. It's currently paused for me, but everything is on a timer. So in 10 seconds, things will cycle through, and everything will be good. And like I said, remember everything. Tip 2, frequently pause. Otherwise, things quickly get overwhelming. So the first action you can do is work, and the second action is dream, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Halfway through your shift, the head porter beckons you aside. "We won't require your services any longer," he says. "Here, your last payment. I have lost my job. At least now I have little time to rest. I have a little time to rest, and my health improves." Whoop, we get funds, and whoop, we get health. These are the results of the action. So what I like to do is there are basically four stats: health, passion, reason, and funds. I put funds over here because I don't really interact with them all that much. I don't need them on the main table. And I put health up here just because there's other things that go along with these cards, which we'll deal with later. So we're going to take our health, we're going to put that right back into work. Unskilled labor, backbreaking work for meager pay. Is this the best I can do? And there's other aspects, but we'll get with that. We'll deal with that a little bit later. And dream. Recall my dreams. Once again, I dream of a glow beneath the filthy skin of the world, the light through the black wood, the pale door, the old man. And read everything simply because A, it's how you know what to do, and B, it's really, really well done. Like, amazingly well done. It's beautiful prose, beautiful imagery, and I have no idea what's actually going on in terms of the lore of this game, but that doesn't matter. I think that's the point. So, here's some other actions. One, this orange one, is time passes. And you can't interact with this time passing at all, at least as far as I can tell. Just every 60 seconds, it takes one funds. You need money to live, to eat, to pay rent, to drink. A lot of absinthe. I need funds to live, but perhaps this recent upset in my circumstances is a secret blessing. Is there something to my dreams? There is a change in the air. And then the next, we have a light in the skull. Whenever the principle of lantern sheds its light, I may recall additional scraps of knowledge. And this gets a little bit later, but so recalling your dreams has led to 2 results. It began when I spoke to the old man in the hospital. He knew my name, but he's dead now. The pneumonia. Why do I dream of him still? What is the cobalt light in my dreams? Time is now passing. We also have passion, is another stat that we can use, and one of the cards we get is contentment, and we'll deal with that a little bit later. But let us dream, let us dream with passion of the moonlit road. I know this dream. A road crests a hilltop and the air is silver bright. And we can dream about lore, which is specific, like little snippets of occult information. We don't have access to any of that yet. I will deal with that a little bit later on. And we get the overlay of the moon because you're dreaming for the first time, and that's actually a really nice, subtle touch. I love it. So we have contentment, we have a health, working unskilled labor, and we are passionately dreaming at night. And here's the thing. They call these actions work and dream, but I prefer to think of it as what you do during the day and what you do at night. Because if you dream of health, it's considered a restful night's sleep. You can dream of passion, and you can dream with reason as well. You can dream on a couple of other things as well, but we'll get there a little bit later. So I think of this as what to do during the day and what you do during the night. It's basically like a time management sim game. So the results of our unskilled labor is our health is now fatigued, so we need to wait 59.3 seconds in order for it to replenish so we can use it again. But we also have something called vitality. And vitality is a time-sensitive card. Like you see, it only lasts for 179.3 seconds. And this can be used to create other health. It can be used for a bunch of different things, but this is a secondary kind of stat. Just like this, erudition is a secondary stat of reason, which we don't actually have access to just yet, but we will shortly. So we have work during the day. We can't actually work with anything, and here's how you can tell. If you click on this slot, things that you can put into it will light up. But right now, there's nothing we can put in it. Oh, slot work, something I can do, something I know, or something I am. But we don't have anything that we can put into it right now, so nothing lights up. The third action is study, and a bequest arrives. A letter from a solicitor. The old man at the hospital, the one I dream of, the one who is dead now, has named me in his will. I'll hear more soon. Fascinating stuff. The crowds of sleep, rumpled fields, the wink of a river, a tingling chill. Read everything. It's amazing. And the result of this, we can already tell what the result of this will be. Dreams hinterlands. Sleep usually brings rest and peace, but not always. Not always. It could give you rest. It could also give you night terrors. Tonight is the dream of the labyrinth of doors. And if any of you out there follow the occult, this might make a little bit more sense to you, but it makes absolutely no sense to me. But it's wonderful, nonetheless. A dream of doors. I dreamt of opening doors, red doors and gold doors, and doors of glass and doors bound like books and railway carriage doors and castle gates. Behind one was the something I seek. I woke with the slamming of doors still in my ears, and you can click these buttons to go back and forth between the different bits of lore in case you missed one. And so dream, our passion is exhausted, but we also have restlessness. And restlessness, a restless longing has me. I feel that I want to do something, but what exactly? And restlessness can turn into dread. It can do existential dread, because if you're not doing much, your brain just starts cycling through, and you start losing, your ability to rationalize through things. So a bequest arrives. The old man has bequeathed me a sum of money and a packet of peculiar papers, poetry, riddles, metaphysical speculations. For the first time in months, here is some fuel for my reason. And reason is the third. So we're just going to collect all of those funds, and these things can stack. I'm not going to click and drag each one. We also have a bequest and reason. In reason, no live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. And we can use erudition and study to actually gain more reason, and that's what I'm going to do. First, we're going to collect all of these funds. A bequest. A package of peculiar papers for my correspondence executor. I must study it. Things that are in all caps refer to these actions, using either passion or reason. But I want 2 passion, so I'm actually going to study passion. I'm going to read whatever is at hand, which will give me an erudition. I know this for a fact. It happens. The world is awash with printed words. Even the newspapers contain knowledge, sometimes. And so once this is done, I can use 2 erudition. I can combine them to get more reason. Okay? And so we have 2 erudition. We have this. Let us dream of health. Let us see what happens. We have dreamt of passion, but we've not yet dreamt of health. Let us see. And we are early night. Rest. Reconsider your priorities, or risk yourself in exploration of the kingdoms of sleep. We don't have anything that we can work with, right? Again, if we could click on this, we can't work with anything. But in 23 seconds, we will be able to work with passion, which is actually painting in this case. So, also, one other thing, you can speed up time. You can do normal or you can do fast forward. I think fast forward is twice as fast as the regular speed. So, if you're just sitting around doing nothing, you can use that. Here's the thing. Dread. I've seen too much. A nameless gnawing fear has its teeth in my hopes. An existential horror. And I've always said, if you don't have existential horror, you're not paying attention. But there we go. Read whatever's at hand. The words contained knowledge. Now I contain it. It is a little like theft, and a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. We can collect all of these, and now we have 1 erudition. We can put that in there. 2 erudition, boom. I've picked up odd facts here and there. If I spent time studying what I've learned, I could increase my reason, which is good, because reason is how these main core traits, your reason, your passion, and your health, in addition to funds to a lesser extent, is how you accomplish things. You need reason to study lore, you need health you need reason to work at your job, you need passion to paint. So you need all of these different things. And the more you have, usually I find the better. But we are dreaming of health. In Hersaut's nightmare, down I go. That's not good. But let us work on passion. Paint. I used to paint. I could paint those sights I half remember from my dreams. I might sell something. I probably won't. And yearning, we can use that restlessness, and that can actually, we can use that to fuel our paints. But right now, we don't have any restlessness, we don't have anything else that we can use to affect our painting, so we're just going to leave that as it is. Hersaut's nightmare. I remember that Hersaut wrote of this. I've livered up floorboards and wriggled down snugly. Now I am compressed beneath them like a hidden corpse. The air stinks of hot dust, my mouth is full of splinters. This time, I haven't learned what I hoped to learn. Whatever that was. Uh-oh. That's not good. But let us dream of reason. There was once a man who said that the sleep of reason produced monsters. Often it is healthy to let the mind wander to sleep, but if I keep dreaming sooner or later, some sort of monster will rise from my own fears. And the reason I'm doing these different combinations is because that's how you progress in the game. That's how you learn about the game. Just try different combinations. Uh-oh. So there's many different ways to actually die in this game. But death is not the end of the game, because depending on how you die, you can start a new character with different traits. Like in my own personal progress, I had an investigator arrest me and I was sent to jail. So then if I started a new game, I could actually start as an investigator investigating my old character. Fascinating stuff. I love it. So don't worry if you die on your first time through. It's okay. It'll happen. Sickness. I've become unwell. If an illness cannot consume health, it will cause death. So we need to find a health in the next 56.3 seconds. Where is my health? Where is... Oh no, it has already consumed a health. And there it is, right there. And so that means after 56 seconds-ish, it will create an illness. And the way that you deal with an illness is you dream of the illness, you basically just rest, because it's not necessarily dreaming, it's what you do at night. So you basically just rest, and then you use either money to buy medicine, or you use your vitality to just kind of tough it out, right? So that's how you accomplish that. And nothing much is happening. Oh, we do have 2 dread, which is difficult, but they will time out. They will time out. But if you have enough dread, you can actually start to despair and you can fall into a depression cycle. So that is definitely a thing. We've exercised the mind. So we have a second reason, because remember one of our reasons is in dream. We have a second reason, and we also have a skill, scholarship. And if we use this skill, if we study this skill, boom, with 4 additional eruditions, which is like the secondary thing of reason, then you can gain more reason. But right now, we don't really have access to much of that, so we'll just sit here and chill. Or shall we? Can we study? We can study reason. Let us study reason. Just read whatever is at hand. This will give us erudition, but we don't really have access. We can build 4. Okay. Erudition lasts 3 minutes, as does vitality, as does glimmering, which is the secondary level of passion. But we need 4 of these. We can create, with just studying, we can create 1 every minute. So we won't actually have enough time to get all 4 to then study. So, I'm just going to leave this back here. And then let us see what is going on in our world. We do have a glimmering. So the painting. I found a customer. She'll probably hang it in her spare bedroom and never look at it again. But her money is good. Sometimes painting will gain you glimmerings. Study them to unlock more advanced painting options. So we did sell our painting, which is fantastic, for 2 funds, which is awesome. And we do have a glimmering. So once this passion that is currently exhausted, my passion burns low. And we can't use it now, but after 60 seconds we can. We will be able to study another passion, study the passion to create a second glimmering, to then combine them to create additional passion. Right? Right, this is how this works. And contentment can actually offset dread. So this dread is going to time out in about 80 seconds anyways. Uh-oh. But we can dream of dread as soon as this dream is done. Oh, Nightmare of the Cleansing Dawn. Uh-oh, we're going to get some more dread. But I talked about an investigator. And if you do certain things, like you kill people, you bring people into your rituals, if you create paintings that are really quite creepy, you'll get the wrong kind of attention. And the city is rife with journalists and detectives and other meddlers. How long will they leave me in peace? And it might be able to create an adversary. But right now, I don't have an adversary. So my adversary is not looking for me. And I don't have any mystique or notoriety, nothing that will contribute to somebody becoming my adversary. We haven't really done anything. We're just working on ourselves. We're starting off a little bit of lore, and that's it. And this light in the skull, after 30 seconds, this will create an additional erudition for us. So, we also have reason and fascination. There's our 2 reasons. Love it. But let us dream of dread. And let us also dream of contentment. That will eliminate the contentment, but it will also eliminate the dread, which means we're not going to cycle into depression. Let's take one of our reasons. Let's slide it into... Let's try to find some clerical work. Find work which will spare my body, if not my mind. And in 10 seconds, we will get that. Oh, no, not yet. I was thinking it was going the other way. Whatever. The point is, we now have clerical work. So our reason is back, but I'm going to put this over here, and you'll soon see why. Glover and Glover have offered me a junior position. I start at 8 sharp tomorrow morning. Good. We're going to take this job, and we're going to put it right... Where is my job? There we go. We're going to put it right back into work. The scratching of pens, the sourness of dust, the sighing of the younger Glover, the greedy gurgling of the elder. And diligence. We can put in something here. And we can work with either reason, or we can work with... Actually, no, in this case we can only work with reason. And you can click on these icons at the bottom to see what we need. So, we will put in our reason for extra effort at Glover and Glover. I will apply extra effort, perhaps they will appreciate it. Maybe, we'll see what happens. We also have fascination. Light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. And fascination can create visions. You do not want to create visions. The curious few. My name, just now, is clear. Any guardians remain in the shadows, which actually created some contentment, which is good. Which is very good. And where's my health? Oh, right. My illness, the affliction, has taken up one of my health, so I can't actually use it. There's one erudition. So what we will need to do is normally we can gain vitality through studying health, but we don't have any additional health, so we will have to actually use funds to buy some medicine. And I'm going very, very slow. I'm progressing very, very slow in this particular, for this particular playthrough, just because I want to explain certain things. Read sentimental literature. If I proposed to learn anything, I wouldn't be reading this stuff. But we're reading about passion, right? So we will dream of an affliction. Basically, we just rest and recover. So we will use funds to buy medicine. The medicine is dark and bitter as tar. It would be easy to suspect I am being poisoned. But in 60 seconds, the affliction will go away, because you can die of the affliction. If you don't buy medicine, or you don't just tough it out through vitality, you will die. Boom. Final point. A promotion! Mr. Alden, the supervisor of records, has called me into his office to recognize my diligence. I watch the mole in his neck as he talks. and talks and talks. But at the end of it, I have a promotion. My new promotion is better paid, and the desk stands by the street window. But I work directly for Mr. Alden now. Mr. Alden is known to be exacting. But we do have funds, which will keep us alive. And here's the thing, the timer for this job is about a minute. So we need to constantly go back to work in order to not lose our job. I'm better paid than I was, but Mr. Alden has taken an interest in me. Mr. Alden is very particular. Mr. Alden likes things done just so, and Mr. Alden has never believed that I'm qualified for this position. Mr. Alden is an annoyance. He's a fly on the wall. He's a thorn in my side. I may yet find a way to remove it. But we need a cult. First, for that, we need followers, which is what I'm about to do. We're currently reading sentimental literature to get a glimmering, and then we will do that. Then we will study the bequest, and things will move on. But let's speed this up. The dread, the existential dread, is going away. It is wonderful, but so is our glimmering, so is our inspiration. Oh, what is this? There's a trembling in the air. The sun flickers like a shadow. Dreams ripple behind the surface of mirrors. I must be careful not to drift from the waking world. Fascination may cause visions. And this is the fascination, right? The light in the cracks. What we are going to do is I want a second... We'll take the passion out. I want a second... We have 2 glimmerings, so I will combine these 2 glimmerings before the second one times out in 40 seconds. And we will use it to produce a second passion. And our health has returned. And I will be using... I do want a second health, so we'll do the whole study health to get vitality kind of a thing. We can also dream about health to get vitality. I believe. I think I've seen that happen. But we will see. Reason, yes. And the reason we need this is because we are working overtime at Mr. Alden's insistence. The work is complete when I've assessed the work is complete. I do, and not before. I trust we understand each other. And if we put reason into there, which is why I put the reason up here in the first place, we can actually get double the pay, which is good. Which is good. See, there's 2 funds as opposed to the regular 1. We'll put our position back. There we go. I just want to put that over there. There we go. And once again, we go back into the grind. And so we now have visions. Paintings whisper, windows wink. I know these things are not true, but how can I be certain? You can defeat visions with dread. So just like you used contentment to offset the dread, you can actually use dread in a positive way to offset visions. Because if you collect 3 visions, you go mad. And you cut off your ear while painting pictures of starry nights. Don't drink absinthe, kids. So yes, so we now have a second passion, and we also have a skill of vivid imagination. But let us study... What shall we study? Let us study a bequest. In the approach, we shall study this reasonably. I'll examine each item with meticulous care. You can also use passion. I don't normally use passion. I try to be a little bit of a reasonable intellectual about the occult. There we go. We used our health to gain contentment. I think that is a nice trade. We will go back, we will dream, we will rest soundly at night, and see what else may happen. But we have studied the bequest, and oh my, things are starting to happen. My correspondent describes my dreams exactly. They use names that are instantly familiar. The house, the wood, the hours, the glory. They know the secrets beneath time and the skin of the world. A new curiosity burns in me. There's a note here, directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. We get a whole bunch of things. We get a Watchman's Secret, which is a bit of lore. We get a temptation, enlightenment. If we'd used passion, the temptation would have been power. I'll talk about temptations a little bit later on. And we get notes on a possible collaborator and directions to Moreland. And I'm just going to put these beside study because you can study both of them. Like, you arrange your table the way you see fit. This is just my particular way. Notes on a possible collaborator. My correspondent had recorded his observations of me. He believed I had potential. He recorded his observations of someone else, too. With time and study, perhaps I can find that person. We can get directions to Moreland's cryptic directions to the obscure address of a certain Moreland, a dealer in the rare sort of book. And I want to start a cult. This is indeed a cult simulator. So let us search for a potential collaborator because we cannot start a cult with one person. then you're just insane. I have a name, a description, a few tantalizing details, but there are 1,000 faces in this city. In 30 seconds, we should have somebody. We should have somebody. And we do want dread to offset these visions. Oh! And we're having a pleasant day today. This morning, there was a spring in my step. I'm not sure why. And the reason I keep some of these over here, I keep time, I keep, I'm seeing things, I keep the visions, I keep a pleasant day on this side, is because I can't interact with these. There's no slot to put things in. This does have a slot for thoughts, but it will automatically grab cards to fill the void. It will either grab a dread and nullify one vision, or it will grab a vision and build them up. Right now we have one fascination right here. If we have 3 of these, we're done. So, let us continue. Oh, we're now working overtime again, at Mr. Alden's insistence. We don't lose anything if we don't work the overtime, I believe, but we do get more money. Then another action is talk. And I await an answer to a letter, because find a potential collaborator. And now I have an address! I'll dispatch a letter and propose a meeting. Talk is unlocked, but we've also gained mystique. And mystique is a reputation. You can have reputations for being mysterious, mystique, or notoriety. If you have a reputation for notoriety, inspectors can actually use that to build a case against you, throw you in jail. Mystique, they can't use that to build a case. It's just rumors and whispers here and there. But they will look harder. They remember who I am. So, let's also find directions to Moreland. We might as well. The directions to Moreland Shop are cryptic. When one deals in the kind of books my correspondent studied, one must be circumspect. And we now have more monies, more problems. We'll put that right back there once more, unto the breach. And we've a pleasant day. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. So we are content. Although we are also tempted. And lore. Your cult is based around lore. You need different levels of lore in different aspects to progress. This particular aspect is lantern aspect. There's lantern, there's moth, there's forge, there's edge, and there is one other thing. And I forget, but we'll get to that again a little bit later. Dreams of curios behind glass. In the display cases of the Impossible Museum, I always see an apple white as snow and hard as marble, a golden beetle in a stern box, a coin geometry awaiting my touch, a black envelope bursting with spring, a brass opera box for instruments of record and measure, a storm in a tin. I always wake before I see the aisle's end. So we actually got a glimmering, which we can use to build passion, from Dreaming with Health. Interesting. Let's dream with health again, see what we can do. Because if we can get another glimmering from that, we can also study passion to get glimmering, and then we might be able to build up to a further one. But now we have an acquaintance. The reply to your letter is courteous if cautious. They are intrigued by how you found their name, intrigued enough to meet you. And our acquaintance is Rose. Rose is a sly miss, and she recognizes you as someone uncommon. I might be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. We shall attempt to do that, because when we talk, oh boy, we can talk about lore, and we can try to recruit new people by talking publicly about lore, but it will attract attention. It might attract notoriety, it might attract mystique. Or we can talk to a person. Here's someone I might work with, a companion or a follower, but first I must give them something to follow. A society, a sodality, an order, a cult. So we'll talk to Rose, and we will see what else it needs. We will see what else it needs. We have finally found Moreland Shop, an ill-lit street and an ill-favored bend in a lesser river, a soft yellow light through a grimy window. Miss Moreland nods as I enter, but doesn't rise. I never ask the names of my customers. Of my clients, she informs me, before I have the time to introduce myself. We can now go to Moreland's shop. We've also unlocked the 5th and final task, explore. Now that I've found the location, I can explore it. We also have an occult scrap. So this Watchman's secret is about lantern. It has been expressed like this. Each hour has its color, but color only exists where there is light. And there's an occult scrap of secret histories. Yes, this is the other one, secret histories. Secret histories are layered beneath the one we know, like the notes in rare wine. This is a detail from one of these histories, and this is the one that I will be building my cult around, because I'm a history teacher. Secret histories fascinate me. We will explore the city with health, or followers. We can explore locations, or we can investigate the possibilities of lore. Exploration is often unpredictable. Moreland Shop, the dim premises of Ms. Moreland, who deals in rare and sometimes dangerous books. We will go to Moreland Shop, but we need money, so we'll take some money, and we will buy a book. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the wafer. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. We buy books, and then the book we buy is random, more or less. We can then study these books to gain more lore, combine more lore to develop our mysteries, right? Right. So, this is where we build our cult. Tradition and compulsion, old, new, or both together. Add lore to determine your cult's founding principles. I will found it on secret histories. We will establish the Society of Saint Hydra. Hail Hydra. An occult society dedicated to the study of the 5 histories and their 1,000 demi-real branches. And we have an acquaintance. I've begun my true work. The authorities will take an interest in it. I must be ready for them. You've begun to establish your cult, and will need a little more before you can recruit followers. And we also have some notoriety. Notoriety is not particularly good. They remember what I've done. Notoriety may allow hunters to build a case against you. You want to keep your notoriety down. Mystique is okay, but notoriety is really not. And here's the exotic cravings. This temptation is like a passion, a craving, something that constantly gnaws away at you, that every so often you just simply must succumb to. You just must give in to the beast, you must give in to the monster, you must give in to the feral nature of what makes you, you. In this case, it will automatically pull this temptation for enlightenment, boom. And what may happen? I don't know. Hunger glows in my brain, hunger for the knowledge the invisible arts might bring. This is the temptation of enlightenment, still exists, it doesn't consume it, but it has given us restlessness. We need to do something. The watchman who is the door in the eye waits in my dreams. If I learn the lantern lore and I dream of this temptation, I can advance my purposes. The need gnaws at me. Interesting. Isn't it? I find it interesting. But we have a new book from Moreland's. The book is An Introduction to Histories. Ooh, we have found something noteworthy. The 17th century mystic and antiquarian Claude Erceau describes divergent incidences in 5 major histories. Boom. The prologue warns at length of the iniquities of one Julian Cosley, a former colleague who Rousseau now describes darkly as a worm of worms. It seems Cosley advertised her so early in the writings of the book, but Rousseau later became suspicious. Not advertised, advised. A terrible clarity. Our purpose demands we recognize the truths that chill the spirit I must give of myself. We must use reason to establish our cult. And there are so many different things. We can do knock, grail, forge, and basically these are different mystic traditions. And ours will be based around the purple. No, not knock. Where is it? Secret histories? Whatever. One of them. But yeah. Anyways, so we have health and a fleeting memory. And we can actually study this. Can we study this fleeting memory? Yeah, I think we can study it, but we can't. Can we also explore it? Yes, we can explore this fleeting memory. No, we can't. We have to combine it with something else that we don't actually have access to. So sometimes you can put things in there, but we can't start it, because these are actually the complementary pieces to another recipe. That doesn't make sense now, but it will. And we have made some money. This Alden fellow doesn't always make you work overtime, but he often does, which is why I like to leave that reason there, so don't accidentally spend it on something else. A cult with 1 member is only an unusual habit. I must have a recruit. My first recruit will be Rose. Yes, the bleak thoughts. This is where despair goes to overtake you. Dark days, I must be careful not to let doubts creep in. Dread may provoke full-fledged despair. But the dread is actually offsetting the visions, so we won't actually have any dread to feed this. That's good. study Hersault's Introduction to Histories, we have gained an occult scrap. Hersault identifies blood, silver, design, and the worms as the central axes of each of the histories, and claims that the so-called second history is the true one. I don't know what that means. But our rise begins. I have founded my cult. This is a step to greater power. Use your cult to recruit and promote followers. Talk with followers about your cult to send them out on cult business. We have a second occult scrap. I wonder if we can combine those two occult scraps into something a little bit more powerful. We can. We have a temporary headquarters. Beautiful. We have Rose, a believer, no longer just an acquaintance, a believer. And we are the Society of Saint Hydra, an occult society dedicated to the study of the 5 histories. Yes, Saint Hydra unusually allows you to use any aspect to promote believers, but it has no exalted specialists. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Our rise begins. Our reason is dimmed. But this is how we shall end. This is how you found your cult. What you do from this point on is up to you. If you would like, and you would like to see some spoilers of things that are a little bit further on, you may by all means stick around. I will be turning this into a Let's Play, but for now, you may start your own voyage into the occult. I will offer you no more guidance. It is up to you to find what you seek. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time in Cultist Simulator. Ciao, everybody.